Hey, what is up everyone? Yesterday I asked you guys what kit you wanted to see next and you said this one right here. The Master Grade 1100 Maneuver Striker for using with the Master Grade Eclipse Gundam from Gundam Seed. And as usual, when you see one of these monochromatic boxes, that does mean this is Pre-Ban or Premium Bandai, and this video would not have been possible without those absolutely fantastic people over at BUYEE. So if you're looking for rare kits like Premium Bandai, or even rarer, I guarantee you will find them on BUYEE. Anyway, the link is down there in the description. So this right here is what you get once you bust this box open and snap it together. So that is the maneuver pack itself, as well as the full action base and an adapter for using it on the action base. Lastly then, in here we do have some stickers, and I repeat, stickers. First of which are a pair of foils in green, and then we've got some decals. So it is a bit weird for a P-Bandai kit to actually come with sticker style decals, but that's exactly what these are. Not water slides, sticker style only. These are some nice designs, but that is most definitely a little bit of a letdown. So this particular striker pack right here, the Master Grade 1100 Maneuver Striker, is intended for the Master Grade Eclipse Gundam. If you have not seen that video yet, this is one of my all-time favorite, if not my favorite Master Grade, because it's just so cool. It mixes style, a transformation, and awesome build all together in such a killer kind of way. I adore it and I still love it. But I will also mention that because this is a striker pack, that means it should work with other Master Grade kits too. So if you want to grab this for your Strike RM, Strike Rouge, etc., then this should work too, and I will try it out on a couple other kits later on. As for the build, there is a lot more runners in here than I thought there'd be. The color separation is absolutely fantastic, even though, like I mentioned, there is one set of stickers. These are some green ones, which are placed directly underneath the nose on the front of the finished unit. As for the build, I found this extremely enjoyable, but I will mention there is a lot of repeated building, 4 times over for the vast majority of this kit. So when you build a nose segment, this is just a straightforward build, nicely layered up, but then when you get to the wing kind of segments, you have to do everything 4 times. So that is 4 times on the main blade section of the wings, 4 times on all of the sub wings, etc, etc. If you don't like building the same thing over and over again, production line style, this might feel a little bit pedantic. These are incredibly detailed with a ton of parts, but I have to say, the build is fun. There's a lot of sliding connections where flat parts connect into other flat parts. It's very fun, very nice, and I highly recommend it. Anyway, let's check it out once it's finished. So the Maneuver Striker right here must be 100% space or aerial use only, because this, unlike some other things like the Sky Grasper, does not have any kind of landing gear. Now, when I say must be, it's because there is no blurb at all inside of this particular manual. It's just bare bones instructions, and that is it, which again is to be expected sometimes with Premium Bandai, but I like to know a little bit about the unit while it's being built. But yeah, we've got nothing about that whatsoever. Just, you know, don't eat the parts. So that does mean it is great that Bandai did include an action base with this. So in order to use the action base with the Maneuver Striker, we've got a little adapter that just pops on up here like so, simple as a little bit of a cradle. You do actually have to get your hand in there and eke this out ever so slightly in order for it to fit. And then this big old ball segment, which kind of reminds me of a big Master Grade's hip joint, honestly, that just slots down into the cradle just like so. And this is a perfectly awesome solid hold, and I have to say, this thing looks incredible. So jumping into the aesthetics with that full 360-degree spin, and the color separation on this is mad awesome. And so is the layout. We've got the gray in the moving parts, which look like a kind of frame, black layered on top of that, finally finished off with some white armor and some red trim. We do have a very nuclear looking clear green in the cockpit style segment, and honestly, the way this is put together looks incredibly good. Now, I will mention I never actually got around to panelining this sadly, but there is so much detail all over this, and this will look incredible once panelined up, especially round back on all those wing style segments pointing to the back. Those look incredibly detailed. Let's jump on in for a little bit of a closer look. So first up, taking a look at the nose segment, and the thing that grabs my attention straight away is that absolutely nuclear green. Underneath that we do have black with some detail, and this is probably what makes the design of this particular pack stand out to me so much. Most striker packs don't have a kind of cockpit looking segment. Now I don't know if this is manned or unmanned, once again because there is very little information on this particular pack, but either way that is a cool feature up front. Underneath the nose segment we do have this little bit of a cannon, and I will mention this is removable, so you can just pop that off as simple as that, so I'm assuming it is optional equipment. I'm not sure if we'll get anything else in future with this. I kind of hope that we do though. Round back then we've got those 4 booster units, and each of these features so much articulation. When you actually keep them in their standard form like this right here, they actually form a cool kind of square shape, which is very kind of, I'm not sure how to describe it, nice on the eyes and brain. Like I could imagine this slowly floating through space. This is a cool design. But yeah, like I mentioned, these do all have a lot of movement. These can swing out like so, this can move, these can spin, and each of the arms can flare these out just like so. So this is a very imposing and pretty over-the-top striker pack. Let's take a look at one wing at a time. So yeah, once again, the articulation on this is great. We've got this peg which will allow it to spin from the actual fighter unit. Then this has a nice hinge right here, followed by a hinge right here. Each of these can move down like so, up like that, as well as rotate on the spot. These segments here with the thrusters up front, these can rotate like this. This can move up and down on a hinge, but the blade segment back here, this is always fixed in position. Honestly, this thing looks phenomenal. Just like the Eclipse itself, this from a distance could look almost cluttered. But when you get in really close, the detail is so good. The thrusters look fantastic. With so much going on inside of them, all of the surface has some nice detail, especially the super long fin type segments around on the thrusters. There's some nice mechanical piston style detailing on the arms, and the nose is an absolute joy to look at with that clear cockpit, nice detailing, and the way all the parts have been sandwiched on top of each other looks incredible. But hey, that is enough about taking a look at this on its own. Let's get this equipped on the beast that is the Eclipse. So first off, I'm going to be getting that Eclipse up onto the action base that was included in this kit, because it is a regular old action base, and now that Eclipse is ready for some maneuver pack docking. So in order to attach this, first you do need to transform it. That is pretty simple. You grab the nose segment like so, and spin it upside down. Then you grab each of the 4 wings and flip each of these around at their base, so that is all 4 spun round, pointing the same direction as the nose. This exposes the striker pack attachment point, and that just slides then into the back of the Eclipse. Now, we'll mention with it attached on like this, it does feel a little back heavy and like it's going to topple, or just be plain old hard to pose. So the manual does recommend attaching it into the cradle just like this. You still have the articulation you may want out of this backpack, even when it's in the cradle, and then pop the Eclipse on like this for a more secure hold. So finally, there's what it looks like attached onto the Eclipse, and this is absolutely ridiculous looking. Whether it's ridiculous good or ridiculous bad will be up to yourself, but there's a whole lot going on. This is one busy pack. This looks like absolutely nothing I have ever seen before when it comes to gunpla, and to me, that is a good thing. This does, however, stand out quite a distance from the back of the Eclipse. I didn't actually know there was this large gap, the part where that little ball segment is, that, well, to me, looks a little bit like a weak point. At that point, however, we do have some articulation, so you can move your Eclipse just there. It doesn't seem to be strong enough to actually hold it up, though. So like I mentioned already, I don't actually have any information on this pack whatsoever, so I don't even know what it can do. If you know more than I do, which is anything at all, you can drop that down there in the comments and let me know about it, but I'm just going to go with what is in the instructions. It does mention you can swing the weapons forward over the shoulders just like so, and the ends of these do look a little bit like they're not just for thrusting, they're also for firing. This completely changes the vibe of this backpack, and now it just kind of feels more threatening, more forward-facing, more ready to throw down. Almost like it's in some kind of attack mode as opposed to a flight or a long-distance movement mode. So as well as extending them around to the front so they can shoot up a storm, you can also extend them out completely to the back like this. this is a really almost squid-like backpack. This gives an impression of maybe moving forward really quickly, but does also show the dynamic nature of this particular backpack. Now, this is where I'm going to say something a little bit disappointing. This looks like it would look great in this form on the back of the transformed Eclipse, but I am not going to transform the Eclipse just to try the striker pack on. Here's an image of what it looks like. But that is too much of a transformation just to connect on a pack. Let's try it on some other suits instead. So time for that striker pack fashion show. Actually, it's a Gundam fashion show onto the striker pack this time. We're going to start with the Striker M, even though it says on Premium Bandai that it will fit. But let's find out for ourselves anyway. So out of the way there, Eclipse. And then off with the Master Grade Ale Striker Pack. Oh man, that always happens. Off with the Master Grade Ale Striker Pack. So the Strike is a much easier Gundam to actually wield, less pointy parts. That just pops on like so. There we go. Gonna spread this out a little bit and get it into a bit of a dynamic pose. So once the maneuver pack is attached onto the Master Grade Strike, this does look pretty good. The colors match decently well because it is red on white with a little bit of black on the maneuver pack, and that is pretty similar on the Strike. It is red, blue, and white with a little bit of gray. The simplistic nature of this Strike is quite nice to pose, so it doesn't clash too much with this particular kind of pack with all the bits everywhere. So yeah, this is a good, nice match. So if you're considering getting the maneuver pack for an alternate kit, the Strike is a good choice. So the next kit I'm going to try out is this right here, the Master Grade Testament Gundam. So this should fit as well. Get that pack off of the Testament, slide this in here, and it should fit on just like it did with the Strike. There we go, perfect. Try to take the awkwardness out of that pose ever so slightly. Maybe move this leg up like that. And there we go, that is what it looks like on the Testament. Next up then, we've got the badass Gundam Astray Noir. So off with that Noir Striker pack. Just pop it off like so. Let's get this pack back in here again, and does it fit? I assume these all fit on each other fine. There we go, and absolutely no problem with the Astray Noir. So I actually had to stop the fashion show and give this a spin for a second because this works way better than I thought it would. I thought because of the white, this one really suit, but the red and the black on this pack, as well as the spiky over-the-top nature, works so much better on the Astray Noir than I ever thought that it would. This is an awesome, pretty awesome combination right here. So I guess that is it for the fashion show, and it's about time that the Eclipse got reattached on there for good, because that is where this pack is gonna stay. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this is definitely of the same amazing quality as the Eclipse Gundam itself. Now, because this isn't a standard kit, I'm not necessarily going to rank it, but it is of the exact same quality, like I just mentioned, as the Eclipse. Should you run out and buy this for your Eclipse, well, that really does come down to you. Do you want this kind of over-the-top, almost very skinny kind of superposable striker pack, or would you like something a little bit more subdued, classic, and less busy? Well, if you'd like the over-the-top, go for this. If you'd like something less busy, then maybe go looking for a full release Master Grade that comes with a striker pack that suits what you're going for. But if you're like me and you're an absolute hopeless collector, you will absolutely need this for on the back of your Master Grade Eclipse. And if you do, you can check out that link down there in the description and you can get yours through BUYEE. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking those who support me here on the channel as members and over on Patreon, including Craig Jerry, Caleb Engelhardt, Van Fawn, Global Frequency Studios, Lauren Seahack, Joseph Kukluk, Mr. Winter, Forsetti, Joe, Org59061, and Gunpla UK Limited. Man, the whole review's over and I look off to my right and I see this, that little gun segment that was at the front of the pack when it was in fighter mode. Now this can actually be attached onto the arm of the Eclipse, but you do actually have to remove this whole segment here. So once you have popped that off, this can pop on here. Honestly though, total downgrade. That does not look nearly as nice at all. But does give me hope that we'll see some more coming out in future for the Eclipse.